In this video, we will look at economic factors as an external influence in the business environment. Changes in overall economic conditions have a big influence on business. Economic growth rates have an underlying tendency to rise and fall in regular cycles. This cyclical pattern is called the economic cycle, and as you can see on the diagram, it is characterized by 4 different stages: an expansion, boom, recession, and depression. An expansion in the economic cycle is characterized by an increase in positive economic indicators, which include GDP, employment, income, output, wages, profits, and demand and the supply of goods and services. When the economy is growing, consumer confidence is high and consumers feel safe to borrow and spend, leading to increased profits and investment for business. A boom or peak is the highest point of the economic cycle, when the economy is producing at maximum allowable output. However, following a peak, the economy typically enters a correction which is characterized by a contraction in GDP growth, and the economy slows down. Demand and investment decreases because consumers and businesses become uncertain about the future. At this stage, employment declines, unemployment increases, and business profits fall. A severe downturn is called a recession, defined by 2 successive quarters of negative economic growth. The slowing ceases at the trough, and at this point the economy has hit rock bottom, from which the next stage of recovery will emerge. One important factor to consider in terms of economic cycles is that not all businesses experience a downturn in revenue and sales during a recession, nor do they necessarily experience an upswing in trade during a boom period. Some businesses are more vulnerable than others during an economic downturn. These tend to be businesses where purchasers can easily put off their spending because it is discretionary, that is non-essential. For example, new cars, hotels, construction, high-end restaurants, and airlines are those that are impacted. Governments use various policies to try smooth out the economic cycle. In Australia, these include the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. When the government implements the monetary policy, it uses the Reserve Bank to influence the level of interest rates to help manage and control the economic cycle. When the economic cycle hits the downturn, a central bank can lower interest rates or implement expansionary monetary policy to boost spending and investment. During an expansion, however, it can employ contractionary monetary policy by raising interest rates and slowing the flow of credit into the economy to reduce inflationary pressures and the need for a market correction. When the government implements the fiscal policy, it adjusts its spending levels and tax rates to help manage and control the economic cycle. To end a recession, the government can employ expansionary fiscal policy, which involves deficit spending. Conversely, the government can also use a contractionary fiscal policy to stop the economy from overheating during expansions by taxing and running a budget surplus to reduce spending. To summarize, economic influences on a business relate directly to their economic environment, which is dependent on changes in economic growth. These changes are characterized by boom and recessionary periods in the economic cycle. The government also implements a monetary or fiscal policy to influence the economic cycle. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please consider liking and subscribing, and thank you for watching Educate.